everyone. How is everyone doing? Let's just wait. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Facebook Live, typically what happens is when the presenter hits the live button, there is always a lag of 20 to 30 seconds, which is why you'll find a lot of Facebook Live presenters just staring blankly into the screen because you're waiting to see if people have logged in. And those who are not familiar with Facebook Live start getting a bit of anxiety when the presenter does not start speaking straight away. So that's a little bit of a behind the scenes insight into how Facebook Live works. All right, so we are just usually waiting for people to get the notification before we start with our live session or with our live presentation. So you all know the drill. What do you say when you first log in? You say, "Hi, Nim," and maybe tell me where you're logging in from, because when it's just me speaking for 15, 20, 25 minutes with no interaction or no engagement, then it becomes a bit one-sided, right? So it's always nice when you guys just take a moment to say hi to me, because I get pretty excited. Even though I've been doing this show for so many years, I still get excited when people stop and say hi to me. So please do that. Even after the live session, if you log in, don't forget to say hi to me. Jyoti, hello, good morning from Mumbai. Jyoti, I hope all is well in Mumbai. We're catching up on the news here every single day. And here's wishing all of you in India much health. I hope you all stay safe, and I hope you all pull yourselves out of this pandemic very, very soon. So here's hopes and prayers for all of you out there in India. We are thinking of you. We are praying for all of you. Okay. Philomena says hello from Malaysia, and that it's 2 p.m. now in West Malaysia. Oh, that's a good piece of insight for me. Thank you. So it's just a little after 4 p.m. here in Sydney, Philomena. So we're 2 hours ahead of you there in Malaysia. So hopefully all of you are having a really good Sunday so far. I just wanted to let you all know that today is the last episode of Sunday Chats with Nim for this year's first season. I've been doing this show since 2018, and today brings us to the close of season 7. So we've had quite a few seasons. I'm going to take a break for a few weeks, and after that I will resume with Sunday Chats with Nim. So this is the last episode for now, and I hope you all enjoy it. All right, so let's talk today about how to improve virtual communication. Now, we are all living in a very different kind of era compared to how life was or how the world was just a little over a year ago. We are living in times of a pandemic, and a lot of what we once knew as normal has gone through a drastic change, particularly where the workplace is concerned. Back in the old days, when everything was normal, when we took things for granted, most of us were going in every day to an office, 9 to 5, catching up with our colleagues, coming back home, and going on with the rest of our lives. But thanks to COVID-19, all of that has changed. A lot of companies have adopted what is known as the hybrid model, which means that many of their staff are working from home and some of them are coming into the office. Now, because our style of working has changed, because work culture has changed, it is only natural that how we communicate has changed as well. Nowadays, most of us are communicating with our co-workers, with our direct reports, with our management team via Zoom or Teams or any of the other online channels. A lot of people are struggling with this kind of communication because the new way of communicating does demand of us a new set of skills, which we may not be equipped with. Okay, so today I want to share with you a few tips on how you can actually improve virtual communication, and you can improve your professional relationships with your colleagues, with your bosses, etc. Now, you know my style, right? Typically, when I'm doing a Sunday chats, I like to give 3 tips on any topic that I'm exploring on a given day. So today is going to be no different. I'm going to share with you 3 different strategies on how you can improve virtual communication with your co-workers so that you can have healthier relationships, more positive relationships with the people you work with. Okay, so the first strategy is to reintroduce what is known as the water cooler conversations, except this time you're reintroducing them in a virtual context. Does everyone know what is a water cooler conversation? Let me pause while you all reflect on it. It pretty much explains itself, that phrase, but let me throw it out to you just to bring about a bit of interaction from all of you. What is a water cooler conversation according to you? Let me just wait while you all think, and hopefully someone responds. Jyoti says, thank you. We're grateful for your well wishes. We will miss you. Oh, thank you, Jyoti. I might do some other YouTube videos in the meanwhile anyway, but yeah, Sunday chats with Nim. I'm going to take a little bit of a break because typically between different seasons, I will take a few weeks break just so that it gives me some time to recharge my batteries and think of new topics for you all for the new season. But thank you for that. So let me throw the question again. What do you understand by water cooler conversations? Does anyone want to have a go? All right, while you're thinking, back in the old days, when we used to go to the office instead of working from home, whenever we went to a colleague's desk, oh, hold on, Philomena has an answer. Casual talk, example, how are the children? Spot on, well done, Philomena. You get a gold star for giving the right answer. That is fabulous. So I'm going to expand on that and I'm going to explain it all to you as well. So back in the old days, when we went to a colleague's desk, it was usually to ask a work-related question. For example, we might go up to a colleague's desk to find out when we can expect them to submit a certain spreadsheet, when are they going to respond to our email, how is a project tracking along. So whenever we went to someone's desk, it was usually to find out a status update about something that we were working on, which is all well and good, right? Because when you go to work, you've got to talk work-related stuff, of course. But then the highlight would be when you would take a teeny mini break and you would go off to the water cooler to get a drink of water. And when you went to the water cooler to pour yourself a drink of water, what would happen? Along would come strolling one of your colleagues or maybe a couple of your colleagues, and they would pour water for themselves as well. And as you all stood around the water cooler sipping that nice chilled water, you would talk about the recent movie you had watched, or a book you had read, or what you did over the weekend, or how your children were driving you crazy, or you know, all that kind of casual fun stuff that you typically wouldn't talk just by going to your colleague's desk in the middle of the day when you're all supposed to be hard at work. Okay, so water cooler conversations were, like Philomena rightly said, they were casual chit-chat sessions where colleagues would just de-stress and talk about everything that was non-related to work. Also think about when you went to grab a coffee at the coffee machine, or you went to the kitchen to warm up your lunch in the microwave, or you went to the printer to grab a printout. I remember always there being 1 or 2 colleagues out there doing pretty much the same thing, and then we'd talk some fun stuff. But now that we are living in this virtual world, right? Okay, because we are doing everything online, those water cooler conversations have become a thing of the past, which is really, really sad, because I think that was a great way to do a bit of team bonding. It was a great way to increase team cohesiveness and build a really healthy team culture. Because if not for those water cooler conversations, everything was just work. And too much work can make Jill a dull girl. You all remember that famous quote, right? So here's my suggestion. Reintroduce water cooler conversations, but be a little bit creative about it. Okay, so you can do this via Zoom. Okay, you can do this online. I'm sorry, I've got the sun on my face, so I'm trying to get the lighting a little bit better. Hold on. So no matter how hard I try to get the lighting right, it's never quite perfect. But hey, like I say, don't wait for perfection, just focus on progress. And I've got to practice what I preach. All right, so where was I? I lost my drift of thought for a minute. Yeah, so how do you reintroduce the water cooler conversations in an online world? What you should do is, you can't do this with massive teams, but let's say you've got a small little team. What you can do is you can decide, a few of you pick a day of the week, and then let's say you pick every Wednesday, and then you pick a time of the day, okay, and park aside 10 or 15 minutes when you all make a coffee in your own homes and you meet up your colleagues and decide that you're going to talk just fun stuff. You're going to talk about anything and everything not related to work, because you're doing all of that anyway through the rest of the day, right? But in these Zoom catch-ups, you're just going to talk fun stuff. You're going to talk about which Netflix series you're currently watching. You're going to talk about what you've got planned for the weekend. Just light-hearted stuff, okay? Now, when you do that, you will find that when you re-meet them later to discuss work-related stuff, you've built a positive bond with each other, particularly if you're doing that once a week regularly. All right, so that was my first strategy to improve virtual communication, which is reintroduce the water cooler conversations in a remote virtual working context. By the way, you're all very silent, so don't forget to say, those who've just joined in, don't forget to say hi to me. Today is the last episode of Sunday Chats with Nim for this season. I'm going to take a break for a few weeks like I do between seasons, and I will see you again in a few weeks' time. I haven't quite decided which date it's going to be, but I'll keep you all informed. All right, the second strategy to improve virtual communication is take small breaks between your online Zoom meetings. What I'm finding people doing a lot of the time is they finish one meeting and hey presto, they're into the next meeting, and after that the next meeting, and that goes on till the end of the day. Okay, now if you're simply running from one Zoom meeting to the next without even taking a breather, what's going to happen is you're going to get overwhelmed, you're going to get stressed, and you may eventually burn out. Okay, when you don't take a break between Zoom meetings, your brain hasn't had the time or the opportunity to check out of the previous meeting and its agenda, which means that the thoughts are still swirling in your mind about whatever was discussed in that meeting, but you've already logged into the next meeting, which means your brain has not had a chance to check in for the next meeting. Now, when you do that, when you're in one meeting but thinking about the previous meeting, what happens? You are not practicing what is known as active listening. And when you don't actively listen, you miss out on crucial pieces of information. When you miss out on crucial pieces of information, you are confused about what action steps are your responsibility, which means you do not deliver according to expectation. And what happens when you don't deliver according to expectation? Your credibility is impacted. You deliver less than you are supposed to, and that is not good for your professional image. Okay, so wherever and whenever possible, try to take at least a 5 to 10 minute break between your Zoom meetings so that you can go and freshen up or grab a drink of water or pour yourself a nice hot coffee. Okay, that way you're going to be able to be fully present for each meeting. The third and the last strategy for effective virtual communication is how you handle conflict in this world of Zoom that we're living in. Okay, when you are communicating with most of your colleagues in an online kind of way, of course, there's going to be a lot of misunderstandings, miscommunication, and there's going to be conflict. Don't tell yourself, This will pass eventually, miraculously, even if I don't do anything about it, because conflict does not just vanish. You've got to take active action steps to manage it. Okay? I'm someone who really believes that if I have a conflict with someone, no matter how much I will it, right, it's just not going to vanish without my active input. So you need to manage your conflict with your colleagues when you're communicating with them, via Zoom or online. So how do you do that? Let's say you and a couple of colleagues have had a bit of a falling out, or there's been some kind of misunderstanding and it's making you really awkward because you have to check in with them each day and communicate and discuss a certain project. Now, how do you discuss something with someone you don't get along with, or someone who annoys the daylights out of you, right? So here's what I suggest. Hold on. There's a bit of distraction here. I'm just trying to figure out what's happening. All right. So let's say you're not getting along with a couple of your colleagues. What you need to do, you can't just go up to their desk and say, hey, can I have a word with you? Because obviously you're all working from home. So what you do is maybe a couple of days before, you send each person that you have a problem with and whom you need to see collectively, you send them an email and you fix a meeting time. And you give them a heads up about what that meeting is going to be about. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be abrupt. You sound professional. And you basically let them know that this meeting is going to be to clear the air, or it could be to get clarity about a particular miscommunication, or it could be to shed light on a certain problem you all seem to be having with each other. Okay, so make sure that they know what this meeting is going to be about. What you also need to do, and this is very, very important, is decide ahead of time in what order each of you is going to speak in that meeting. Because when each person knows when it is their turn to speak, you reduce chances of one of you logging out of Zoom in a huff because they feel that they're not being heard or that the other people are speaking over them. Okay, so let me quickly sum up what you've got to do for managing online conflict. You decide ahead of time who the people are who need to be in the meeting. You send them a meeting invite ahead of time and you let them know what that meeting is going to be about. And thirdly, you decide in which order you're going to speak, to avoid further miscommunication, because you're already trying to clear the air because you're not getting along, right? So that is what I would suggest. These are strategies that I myself have practiced and they've been very successful, which is why I'm suggesting that you try those out too. All right, so that brings me to the end of today's session, which like I just said a couple of times before, is the last episode for this season. And I'm going to take a break like I do between seasons, and I will see you again in a few weeks' time. Before I give you a quick sum up of the 3 points for effective virtual communication, let me quickly say my highs. Lizelle Martins, hi from Sydney. I'm home. Lizelle's working from home. Good to see you, Lizelle. Asta, hi Nim. We will surely miss listening to you. Thank you very much, Asta. Vikashja, hi, how are you? All right, so let me do a quick sum up of what these 3 points are. So the first one is reintroduce the water cooler conversations which we back in the good old days used to have whenever we went to the cooler to pour ourselves a drink of water, when we went to the kitchen to warm up our lunch in the microwave, when we went to the coffee machine to pour ourselves a coffee, or when we went to the printer to get a printout. That's where we'd stand around and chit chat with our colleagues. Reintroduce that in the virtual context by booking a specific 10 to 15 meeting once a week with your colleagues, where you all log in with your cup of coffee and talk about everything that is not work related. This will help you build a sense of team bonding. It will improve team cohesiveness, which is very, very important if you want to work in a healthy way with your colleagues. The second was take small breaks between your Zoom meetings. Don't just rush from one to the next, There's nothing great about doing that. It might make you feel super accomplished, but trust me, you'll burn out in the end. Take small 5 to 10 minute breaks where you go and freshen up or get yourself a drink of water. It'll help you mentally check out of the first meeting and mentally check back in for the next meeting. Okay, and the third one is handle conflict with your colleagues, even though it is online, by actually fixing a meeting date and time with your colleagues. Tell them what this meeting is about, decide on which order you're going to speak in, and then go about systematically clearing the air so that there are no more misunderstandings. All right, so that's it from me for today. I will see you in a few weeks' time for Sunday Chats with Nim. And in the meantime, whenever I get an opportunity, I will continue with my usual articles. Although I'm not going to do much of that for the next few weeks either, because I'm sort of trying to take a break from social media. It can get a bit much sometimes. Not a complete break, but I'm definitely going to reduce it a little bit because I'm working on several projects at the moment. Book number 5 is underway as well, and you all know that writing a book is very, very challenging, very time consuming, and it does take up a lot of your time and energy, right? So that's happening, and I'm also trying to put a few courses together, like online courses, so I'm going to be a little bit busy with that. So it's always a good idea to tweak how much time is spent on social media, right? Because too much of a good thing is not good. Alrighty, so good tips, thanks, says Philomena. Lizelle says she's arrived from Germany to Sydney. Oh, well, welcome to Sydney, Lizelle, that's great. Vikash says we'll miss this session. Thank you, Vikash. But I will see you all very, very soon with the next season of Sunday Chats, because I'm trying to bring you some new topics. Now, if there are any topics that you think I have not covered in any of my episodes and you really, really, really want to know some tips about that, please send me an email or send me a private message on Facebook. Just let me know what that topic is that you'd like me to talk about, and I will definitely share it with my team, and we will compile a list, and I'll try my best to cover those topics whenever I bring you the next season. So let me tell you all here that I've truly appreciated all the love, all the support. You are my biggest cheerleaders, all of you, and it is so great that you spend a little slice of your Sundays with me each week. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Good luck with everything. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you soon in the next season. Take care. Bye for now.